Greetings, traveler. I'm SnapJelly, and in case you didn't know, as a kid, I used to LARP. Some of you guys would probably know about that already. And I was recently reminded of this because I started as a scenario writer. I don't know the correct English word, but I'm a DM now in the place that I used to LARP as a kid. Now, because of this, I thought it'd be fun, because I still have my LARP gear, so I thought it'd be fun to take a look at the sword that I used to LARP with, and review it in a way as if it was a real sword, and see if it would be realistic and effective or not. Now, just for funsies. Now, this was, of course, a very fun idea, until I had to actually get the sword, because I used to keep them, and still keep them under my bed, and this turned out to be quite a hassle. Alright. Maybe it wasn't smart for me to wear a white shirt. Get out. Suitcase. It's all the way in the back. Of course it is, all the way in the back. Let's go. Ow, fuck. This is a lot tighter than I remember it being. I don't fit under the bed. How long ago must it have been if I don't fit under the bed anymore? There's hair in my eyes. Okay. There's hair in my eye. I think I'm stuck. Okay, I got it. I got it. This is the wrong thing. God damn it. No. You fucking... You're for real? I got the wrong thing. Come... Ow. Hair. Get out of my face. Ow. I got it. Ow. Here it is. God damn it. Bubble wrap and all. As a side note, am I clearer now? Because I got a new microphone. I'm still trying to figure it out, and sometimes when I say that the audio is shit, you guys don't seem to mind, and other times that I think it's pretty good, you guys are like, oh, your audio is so bad, so I don't really know. So please tell me in the comments if the audio is better right now, because I got a new one. And honestly, you guys got me one, because I got it completely off of Patreon money. So you guys bought me this microphone, so I hope it works. I hope I sound clear and smooth and soothing now, because otherwise all this would have been a waste of time. That being said, though, here it is. I got it. This is my my LARP sword. It's quite a specimen in it. I still like it though. I think it looks cool. It's hella dope. I'm getting all kinds of nostalgia feelings right now. Can't believe it. All right. So let's talk. The dimensions of the sword are. I honestly can't remember. Let's measure it. From tip to pommel, the sword is 108 centimeters long. Oh, yeah, you're right. I remember that now. Because in the rule system of the LARP that I used to go at, there was this rule that if a sword was longer than 110 centimeters, it was officially a two-handed sword, and you needed a specific two-handed sword skill. So I wanted a sword that was just within the realms of one-handed usage, but still maximizing the reach. So this sword was perfect for that. I remember that now. It's handmade. I didn't make it myself. I can't remember the name of the guy that did make it, but because I bought it from him for, I believe I bought it for 95 euros, which is a lot. I wasted a lot of money on LARP, man. Gosh. But honestly, as weird as it might sound, for the quality of the weapon, 95 euros is not a lot at all. Because LARP gear and weapons is ridiculously overpriced if you consider reenactment and swords and actual swords and stuff like that. which is more expensive, but, you know, comparatively, I'd say that those are still cheaper. Alright, so, about the design. Honestly, it's not that bad. It's not great, but it's not that bad either. I think that if this was an actual steel sword, then it would be able to function. It would not be great. There are certainly some things that could be improved, but yeah, it's all right. First thing is the pommel, which is ridiculous. If you look at it like this, you can see that there are points, spikes on the pommel. Yeah, that's not very smeared because you grab the pommel usually. That's how you hold that's how you carry a two-handed sword. I didn't used to do this. If I used this sword with two hands, I used it like this. Because I didn't know dick. This is how I swung it around. But yeah, if it was an actual sword with actual long sword usage and stuff, you would hold it like this, and if this was steel, you would prick yourself with those points. So that's not very smart. Also, the pommel is very large, just in general. If you would compare it to, like, the fader here, put it next to it, you can see it's a big round knob. And if it was a bit smaller, it would simply be more comfortable to grab, because now it's just a big lump of well, in this case, rubber, but in that case, steel. That wouldn't really be that nice to hold. Also, something noteworthy is that the point is not really pointy. It's kind of just flat, to be honest. So when talking about this sword, this specific design, it's straight because most LARP swords are straight. It's pretty difficult to make a curved LARP sword. But with this design, the sword really has no business being straight. I wouldn't put much of a curve in it, but just a tiny little curve here to just amplify the cutting power a bit. And I would also like it if it had a bit more of a taper at the point to make the point a bit more distinct, to, you know, allow more thrusting, because if it's like this, you really wouldn't be able to stab with it. Also, considering the blade, of course, it being a LARP sword, it's incredibly thick. Way too thick, so if it was steel, that would of course have to be thinner, have to be a more realistic thickness. And still, the blade will probably be very heavy. It would distinctly be a chopping weapon, dedicated for cutting. But there is something here, a ridge, that I think is supposed to represent a fuller. But in a way, it's not, because it is a little groove, but this part is thicker again than the spine is. So I think it is supposed to be a fuller, but it's not really. If this was steel, then it would have made more sense if the entire blade was just straight with a single fuller at the back, like you see on most Grossmessers and Kriegsmessers and stuff like that. It would just function normally, pretty much. I think that they made this part thicker to give it more of a distinct edge look. There is a bit of extra thickness here, but that is damage. It's because of using it and smacking it against people that dented, but that used to be straight. So it looked from a distance like it had a distinct edge. A lot of LARP swords are also lighter at what is supposed to be the edge, so that it looks like it shines, you know, to give the idea that it has an edge, even though it hasn't. I think that's the reason, but nevertheless, if you would just copy this blade design and make it thinner, then it still wouldn't be that great. It needs more of a fuller, otherwise it'd be too heavy. Now, talking about this part here. First, the markings that are on there. Previously, I didn't know what they were, but I thought they looked cool. I now know that they are runes. I have learned to read runes a little bit. I know that this is an M. It's supposed to be like this. This is an M, and this is an F. So those are probably the initials of the person who made them, this sword, but I can't remember who made them, so I can't credit him. I'm sorry. But anyway, this part, there's supposed to be like a thicker metal part at the base of the blade, which a lot of people said at the time that I got this sword that was ridiculous. But you do see this on patas. For example, patas is a very, very unique sword with a basket that wraps around it. I'll show you a picture. That is a pata. And a pata has something like this. I guess you could call them languettes. Usually languettes aren't stuck to the blade, but with a pata, they are stuck to the blade. and have like studs or rivets through the blade and the languette, fixing it together. I'm not sure how this would actually affect the material, but I think it looks cool on a bata as well. I don't think though that these two on the back would really do anything, because if the blade was steel, it would be an awful lot thinner, and all of this would just be a lot thinner, and that wouldn't really... Where are you going to connect those two? And you could have these and just, you know, have them go through the blade, but that one, where does it go to? A sword is incredibly thin. I mean, look. Look, where would you actually put the stud? Think about that. So that wouldn't go. You could put a stud this way, but that way, no. So I also previously thought that this part was somehow close in function to the shield on a fader, like this thing right here, these hooks, right? Because on a fader, that is essentially to protect your hand a little bit more. As swords slide down your blade, they usually, you know, get stuck on the guard. But then, due to angulation, there's still a chance that it hits your knuckles, and that's what the shield is for. Now, incoming swords, you know, hit the shield, which is further away from your hand, and thus that is safer. I thought, in terms of function, that it was something like that. Now, I don't think that's the case anymore. Because if the blade was thinner, then this would be thinner as well. There's not really anything gonna get stuck on that. It's just not likely. It will skip over it a little bit and then still come crashing down. I also previously thought that there was no way that a sword had anything that wasn't functional. So, supposedly this could be extra reinforcement. I don't know if it actually makes the blade stronger or weaker or anything like that, but it did happen sometimes historically, and I think it looks really cool, so I actually really like that about this sword. It feels so weird to analyze this thing. I have so many memories. Alright, anyway, stay serious, Jelly. We're almost there. The guard. Alright, now, the guard is small. It could be a little bit bigger. I don't really have a problem with how it is shaped. Again, if this was thinner and this was thinner as well, then the guard would be comparatively wider, because now it's tiny and pathetic, and like I said, swords would just skip and still hit your hand. So if you would use this, you would use it similar to a katana rather than a longsword. There aren't going to be any complicated binds with this, because, well, there's just not really that much to bind with. So it's a dedicated chopper, and you gotta be careful that you don't cut off your hands. The guard, it would be beneficial, I think, if it was a little bit bigger overall. It could have the same shape. I don't really have a problem with the shape, but just larger, a bit longer, a bit wider as well. I think overall that would be good. Or like you see on messers, have a nagel on the side or a ring for extra protection. You know, there's a reason that messers had that. So that would benefit the design, but I don't think that it's really necessary. Lastly is the grip. Now the grip on this sword and most LARP swords is round. Now, a lot of you guys are probably gonna know that a round grip, sword grip, is usually not a good thing. And this is a sticker, by the way, which means that it was safe, because it had to be a control. They had like a special control thing to see if the leather wasn't ripped and stuff like that, or the rubber wasn't ripped, because for safety reasons, because LARP is so dangerous. Can you believe that? Anyway, the grip. The grip is round, and on most swords, not all, but most swords, the huge majority of swords, the grips are actually oval-ish shape, and this is to help with edge alignment. Now, edge alignment, if you don't know, is basically getting the edge into your opponent as you swing. It's very important. Have you ever tried cutting a steak with the flat part of your knife? In case you haven't, I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't work. You need to use the edge, and same with cutting. Now, as you... Jesus. As you swing your sword, it's very easy to mess that up, and that's why most swords have an oval-ish shape of hilt, because that makes it easy. Then you can just simply feel what direction the edge is in, because then holding it like this is not comfortable. Now, LARP swords tend to don't give a shit, because you don't actually have to cut somebody. It's just tap, 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 tap. It's so incredibly light, this sword. Jesus Christ, I can still remember like after a LARP battle, having sore arms. Because this sword, it's comparatively heavy. Compared to other LARP swords, it's heavy. But God, it's so freaking light. I can't even believe it. And that sound. Do you hear that? Unbelievable. Anyway, most swords have oval grips, but not all. And there are other ways to have a grip in such a way that it aids edge alignment. And I don't think if this sword would maintain the same grip that it would be that much of a problem because of the wrapping. It has a fairly cheap looking wrapping. It's just one piece of leather wrapped around, and at the front here it's actually open and you can see a leather strip. It's kind of sewn together like that. Now, because of this, I still think that an oval grip would be better, but because of this, an oval grip wouldn't be completely necessary, because since this is on the front, that will also aid with edge alignment, because I can feel where the edge is simply because the opening here, right? I can feel the leather, what do you call it, strip, cord, something like that. I can feel that on my fingers, and I know that that's on the front of the blade, so using that I can still feel what direction the sword is going, and that could still aid in edge alignment. Still, an oval grip would be better, but it's not completely useless like this. It could still be used. So conclusion, overall, I honestly think it's pretty good. It's a cool looking sword. I think it's fantasy-ish design. It could possibly even pass for steampunk if looking at that. And I fell in love with it because I thought it looked awesome at the time, and I still do actually. I do really like the design, and honestly, if it was steel, it would be fairly alright. It's not that long, because honestly my fader is not that long, and comparing it to my fader, aligning the guards, see that at the point, it's not that long. Actually, now I think about it, yeah, see that? My LARP sword is about as long as this cavalry saber, and this one has a grip that easily allows usage for two hands, and you all know how much I love that. Oh, it's a bastard sword. We all know how much I love bastard swords. Ha 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 ha. But in all seriousness though, I think it's a cool design. It's honestly, I think it's really cool. And well, the way I fought with it was ridiculous. Because I used to have a very small shield with this. It's probably here somewhere. Wait a second. Ah, here it is. Got it. There you go. This was my shield, and you were not allowed to hit people on the head at the LARP that I was at. Hair in my fucking eyes. So I would carry this shield and use it to protect my upper body, and then I would hold the sword in reverse grip like this, and have my hand behind my shield and the sword extend down here. So all I needed to do was this, in order to protect my entire body. That's what I would do, and I would stand there like this in the line, in the shield wall, and as soon as I saw an opening, I would lift my shield like a fucking Spartan, like the Spartans from 300, I mean, and then attack, boom, like that. Because my sword was this impeccably long, I could do this and still get enough reach to actually hit people. It didn't matter that you can't exert power this way because it's LARP, so it's just a little tap, that's all that's necessary to get a hit point. And that's how I would roam the battlefield, like this. And I would also hold it like this if I wasn't in the shield wall. I would hold it normally. But still, this is, gosh, the fucking memories, man. Wouldn't believe it. I'm getting all kinds of I'm trying to stay serious-ish in a way, but I'm getting all kinds of nostalgia attacks right now. It's so crazy. And honestly, I don't know what to do with it, to be honest, because I'm not gonna start LARPing again. I mean, I might still LARP as an NPC here and there, just for shits and giggles, but I'm not really planning on doing any role-playing as a player anymore. So it's kind of just been laying there under my bed. And and again, to be honest, it's been so long since I've done any LARP fighting. It would be so weird now. I would probably just fucking destroy the sword, because I would stand there like this because I'm used to that now, and just swinging it with a long sword. You kind of use your left hand as leverage in order to exert force. But you can't yank on the pommel of a LARP sword, because if the pommel snaps off, there is no real good way of fixing that, and that exposes the core, and that's dangerous because reasons. So probably the first fight I would just instinctively go like this and wham, full force smack somebody on the head, and it bounced back. Did you see that? That's how fucking light it is. It bounces. Anyway, I would just yank it and yank the pommel off and hit somebody on the head, and he'll start crying because LARPers are all pussies. I'm kidding, but you get the point. Yeah, and I don't know. I like this design though, but I'm not gonna use it for anything anymore. I think I might sell it. Somebody would want it. I think it's cool. This was fun. I had fun. I like it. I'm happy now. It's been a while since I helped this. Feels really weird. So goddamn light. Wouldn't believe it. Oh my gosh. I can honestly still remember, like the shield too, this one. This is like I forgot the brand, but it's a very cheap round shield, and it's just foam. There's no wood in here, I believe. And it weighs absolutely nothing. And I can just remember so clearly having sore arms after a fight. Because I would stand there with my sword that was just a tad bit heavier than average. And I would stand there with my shield, which honestly doesn't weigh dick. And I would stand there and fight my heart out and rah, because I was a cool warrior, and cling clang. It doesn't make a cling clang sound, to be honest. It makes a very, very faint sound if you hit people. What sound does it make? My other LARP sword. That's the sound it makes. No cling clanging going on. And but anyway, I was cool. I was a cool warrior, and at the end of the fight, I was standing proudly and cool, and my arms were burning up because they were feckin' sore. And honestly, really now, I can't describe how light this is. I always argue how light those are, right? Normal swords, and honestly, it weighs nothing. I feel like it's just gonna fly out of my fucking hand. If I hold it like this, it's gonna go up to the ceiling. It's like a fucking balloon. Gosh, it really has been a long time. I'm getting all kinds of mixed feelings now. So that was just a bit of a goofy video for you guys. A trip through memory lane with me. I hope you still enjoyed it. And thank you to all my patrons for helping me get this microphone. I hope to God it works. I'm still figuring everything out, so it might not go as that smoothly. But still, and thank you for joining my quest, and I hope you'll join me in the next one. Bye, guys.